Just when you think the tension in the Big Brother Mzansi house can't get worse, boom, it explodes again. This time, it wasn't about kitchen duties, it wasn't about hygiene, it wasn't about old grudges. It was about control, it was about perception, and most importantly, it was about who gets to define the narrative. Thandeka and Didi went head to head during WAGER preparations, and what started as a normal strategy talk turned into one of the most uncomfortable moments of the week. So let's unpack what really happened and why this fight feels deeper than all their previous clashes. Now, by week 6, the emotional temperature in the house was already high. Evictions are closer, alliances are shaking. So everyone is calculating their next move. Thandeka and Didi haven't exactly been best friends either. So from full disagreements to accusation of manipulation, there's been underlying friction for days. So when WAGER preparation started, a moment that requires teamwork and cooperation for them to win, right? The timing couldn't have been worse for unresolved tension. Thandeka was in a discussion mood. She was explaining that for the WAGER to work perfectly, everyone had to commit fully to the assigned roles. No half energy, no staying in your comfort zone. Her message, and I quote, "If we want to win, we must stretch ourselves." Then Didi stepped in. Instead of agreeing, she suggested adjustment to the characters, almost like redirecting the plan. So in mid-conversation, that's where the energy changed. Thandeka didn't just hear a suggestion, she heard interruption. She heard opposition, and her tone instantly hardened. And what followed wasn't just loud chaos, it was sharper than that. It was personal. So Thandeka made it clear she felt Didi constantly position herself as one being attacked. She implied that Didi avoids accountability and prefers to look like the wounded party. At one point, she made a statement that left the room tense, something along the lines of, "I'll deal with you." Now, whether that was frustration speaking or a warning, the atmosphere shifted immediately. You could sense housemates retreating into silence because this wasn't just about the tax anymore. This was just personal. So this was about unresolved resentment finally bubbling over. Here's where things became layered. Didi had earlier expressed discomfort about certain sensitive elements included in the WAGER storyline. She didn't feel comfortable. Thandeka's response, practical, direct, almost clinical. So if something affects you, step away, regulate yourself, and return when you are ready. Because the team still has responsibility, right? So two completely different mindsets collided. That's Didi and Thandeka's opinion. One prioritizing emotional safety, the other prioritizing execution and performance. Neither perspective is entirely wrong. But in that house, delivery matters more than intention. And Thandeka's delivery, it often lands heavy. The fight wasn't random. It exposed a bigger divide in the house. Some housemates admire Thandeka's assertiveness. They see leadership strength and no-nonsense focus. Others feel she lacks softness and escalates too quickly. On the flip side, Didi attracts sympathy, but critics argue she sometimes fuels the very tension she later distances herself from. It's a cycle, and every time they interact, the house splits a little more. So at that point, Thandeka versus Didi isn't just a disagreement, it's just a storyline. And in a game where perception equals survival, every argument shifts public opinion, isn't it? So with pressure rising and emotions fragile, this rivalry might not just affect the WAGER, it might affect who walks out that door next. And trust me, this is far from the final round. Thandeka versus Didi. Who wins?